So looks like they're just about ready to start. We do have a Dark Link versus a Light Link. We should actually make a Light Link sprite now that I think about it. Anyway, looks like LTigre going towards Uncle, probably, and Nicholacci starting at Sanctuary. So immediate route divergence.
Immediate, but we've seen this from Nicholacci before. I believe he likes to start setting up with a Houlihan room.
Never a bad idea. Houlihan room, like, doing that right away eliminates any threat of, like, making the Houlihan unavailable by finding flippers or, yeah, basically just finding flippers. So, and that extra, I believe, 225 rupees can definitely come in handy, even if you just need them to buy bombs.
Absolutely. It's a very consistent way of ensuring that you will have money and have your route start off as consistently as possible. Oftentimes we see runners try to do other things, hoping for rupees, but then they'll have to route back for a bottle vendor or have to farm up bombs, and you never know what's going on. It's a nice, easy, consistent way to get everything started.
Yep, and we get a key in Sanctuary, which is interesting. It's going to allow them to have access to that dark room if they decide to fall in, if they find the glove early on. So that could have something really good, and one of them might go for it and one of them might not.
Nope, we never know. Meanwhile, we do see Nicholacci down here farming, getting a couple bombs already, so he'll be able to check at least a few things. LTigre doing the tree pull and getting the 8 bomb drop in there, so he won't have to worry about rupee or bombs either.
Yeah, it's a good tree pull this time. You probably never have to worry about bombs again. So nothing really good in the lumberjack area. So Aghanim is not yet required. It could be on the table. Aghanim has been required in V26 in very weird ways.
Yeah, we see all sorts of things where it's really the only way for you to access Dark World, for example. So you end up having to do that.
Yeah. One of the strangest is having to do Aghanim to get access to the pyramid. Or rather, having to do Aghanim to bring the big bomb to the pyramid.
Yeah, that's always a little bit interesting. But certainly not out of the question for some of these runners, and with the logic being as widespread and varied as it is, not surprising. It's always interesting to see what the logic will demand of you.
Yep. So far, LTigre, I think, is getting better luck here with his routing. With that, the bomb pull, Nicholacci had to blow some of his early rupees on those bombs.
Yep, it's still early though, so we'll be able to see what exactly happens. Nicholacci pulling the power glove from the bottle vendor, so that'll open up a few things.
Yep, remember that sanctuary key they found earlier? That could come into play pretty quickly. But LTigre also has 100 rupees, so it's not like they'll be missing out on the glove for long.
No, we haven't really seen much of a route divergent, but already the Titans met. This is...
So yeah, that's...
okay.
That'll get you into the Dark World. Can't really do much there. You're stuck by, I don't know, like, the Bunny Link can't do anything about bushes, apparently, but, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. All we're missing is the Moon Pearl just to unlock what we can do into Dark World already. So, and still lots of places to check. We still haven't done Mini Moldorm or early part of the Eastern Palace, Sahasrah's hut. So, lots to explore still.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see if we get Moon Pearl soon, to see which of these runners decide to immediately step into Dark World and which of them decide to more fully clear the basic Light World spots.
Different runners have always had different strategies regarding that. In this version 26 logic, I think has turned a lot of that on its head. We've seen runners who have previously, scoured the overworld, now doing more dungeon dives and following the logic. Others have completely flipped that around depending on their luck that they've had it before.
Yeah, for me, it usually depends on how, can I survive in the Dark World? Or, jumping into Thieves' Town with 4 hearts and no sword.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me, and I tend to do the same thing. I'll run around. Do I have a weapon? Do I have the hearts to be able to do anything? There's no point for me even jumping in unless I know I can at least check Hype Cave and things like that. But if I can't survive a lot of those things, then it gets a little weird.
So right now we're just seeing the runners go across things we've already seen the other runner do. Not much new to talk about.
No, we'll see that. We'll see where LTigre goes, and Nicholacci will be following him almost directly.
Yeah, the South Shore is perennially. It was like that in the first tournament. It's like that now. You go to Kakariko and then you go to South Shore. Anything else, I think, is a little silly. But Nicholacci is defying my wisdom and going directly to escape.
And so is LTigre, who is going to take time to go and check the back end of escape.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you get the early glove, that's something I like to do, especially if I don't have the money for Zora.
Yeah, you can get some really interesting things going through and doing this route. Sometimes even something that will lead you, like the hammer,
yeah, that's
leads you exactly where you need to go.
That's another item that gets you to the Dark World, but not an item they technically needed to get to the Dark World. It does kind of kill the Aghanim hype, though, unless the Moon Pearl's at the pyramid.
Meanwhile, Nicholacci, without a weapon and only bombs to his name, is going to do escape in its entirety.
Not a bad play, except if with only bombs as your main source of damage is kind of slow. Although with the second best boomerang in the game will make it a lot easier.
It's fighting words, my friend. Second best boomerang?
Did we see what the stun prize is yet, actually?
I don't think we have.
So we'll probably be seeing that soon enough. And if it's bombs, that'll make this even easier. Or if it's a nice, 20 rupees or a hook shot.
Hey, hook shot, that'll be nice there.
Yeah, hook shot's also good for checking your stun prizes. So my prediction is dead.
Yep. We have a question in chat that asks from Cardinal. Looks like, why don't boomerangs upgrade like swords and mail and shields and things like that? The reason for that is because the blue boomerang and red boomerang behave inherently different. One is slower with a shorter cast time. The other one is can be thrown farther. So because they behave just so differently from one another, and there's really no preference, some runners actually prefer the blue boomerang. That's why it was not made progressive like everything else.
Yeah, it's not strictly an upgrade. And unlike every other upgrade, it's nice to be able to switch them back and forth. So LTigre just finds the flute in Mini Moldorm Cave, which is really nice, while Nicholacci finds the book to accompany that hook shot that's downstairs.
It looks like LTigre also found the Cane of Berna, also the second best cane.
Yep, top 2 canes. Nicholacci's also setting up a Death Warp, which is going to allow him to do all of Escape in one go. Although I guess he's not going to be doing that now.
Yeah, just save and quit out. He thought about it and was like, maybe I won't be doing that.
LTigre getting a little trolled by these crabs. They do 2 hearts of damage, so one more hit in there and he's dead.
Yeah, that's fair. Nicholacci now doing the back half of escape, so he'll be able to get his hammer. Finally, a weapon for him. He'll be happy.
Yeah, and that also shows how early routing decisions like this can help or hurt your run, and because Nicholacci could have saved like I don't know, like half a minute having hammer in escape.
Yeah, he might be kicking himself a little bit there, but if you're used to doing that routing decision, you may not be too upset with you. 30 seconds right now isn't as bad as, say, having to do a double climb up to Turtle Rock, for example.
Right. LTigre, I'm very happy about that fake flipper setup, I guess.
Yep. Cashy the Cat in chat. Cashy the Cat in chat. Haha. Also asks, are enemy prize pack randomized as well? Yes, absolutely. All the enemy prize packs are randomized. So you never quite know what you're going to get. It's always nice to see something like fairies dropping like candy once you're in Ganon's tower.
Yeah, it's definitely nice, especially if, because like I believe the prize packs reset when you save and quit, and if you have something early in the prize pack that's valuable, like a bomb drop or rupees, it can make it a little bit easier, just knowing that you can get a bomb right away.
Absolutely. Nicholacci looks like he's a little bit lost, and there's Cape up on the Zora ledge.
Uh-oh. So, remember when I was talking about that dark room in Escape? Turns out it had the Moon Pearl. And LTigre taking a death, unfortunately.
That's too bad. That'll be an interesting Moon Pearl, though. That means that before you can get anything in the Dark World, you should theoretically be able to find the lamp somewhere. We haven't seen where. So anything in the Dark World will be a sequence break until we get the lamp.
Right. So, lamp and pyramid, maybe?
Oh man, that would be trolly as all heck.
Yeah, but I think with these runners, they wouldn't really have a trouble doing dark rooms. Especially, well, I guess lamp couldn't be on pyramid now I think about it, because you need it for Aghanim.
Yeah. Let's see, where have we not checked? Maybe we have
Eastern.
book, so we can do Eastern. We can also check desert if it's not a required boot seat. Kinosman also says lamp might also be in Death Mountain because we do have flute, which means that we can flute up there.
That is true. And with the hook shot, East Death Mountain's also available. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Nicholacci went directly to activate this flute, and then either do like the fake flippers to Zora / Ice Rod Cave play, and then go to Death Mountain.
That wouldn't be a bad play whatsoever. With that Moon Pearl, he'll be able to do the fake flippers over to the Waterfall Fairy Cave, which LTigre was not able to do because he didn't have the Moon Pearl to be able to activate that particular glitch.
Yeah, and it looks like LTigre, his game crashed or something and lost a lot of progress, actually, sadly.
Oh, that's unfortunate for LTigre. So he's going to be behind. He's going to have to make some, and he knows he's behind. He's going to have to make some decisions that maybe are higher risk in order for him to catch up.
Yeah. Something like that happening in a tournament race cannot feel good. But we do get the Swag Duck anthem on Nicholacci's side, so all rise.
I'm going to kneel. It's okay.
Always taking it to a political place. But, yeah, I think Nicholacci might either go directly to the mountain or... ooh, we got a quick map check, actually, but... So either go directly to the mountain or go towards the 8th spot. Which looks like...
Yep.
And I agree with this play. Leaving Ice Rod Cave is such a huge risk. It could easily have like anything. I mean, obviously, but and it's such a pain to get back to if you don't have like the flute. But it's also really easy to get to if you have the flute, so it's pretty much a no-brainer.
So while LTigre backtracks, the nice thing about that is that places that he hasn't checked, he won't have to recheck, or he had checked and didn't yield anything, he won't have to recheck. So he can kind of make quick work with that.
Yeah, apparently LTigre took a death as well, in addition to that crash. So it's probably a little tilted. Probably, well, yeah, I'd be like extremely tilted at that point. But I mean, it's not an insurmountable time loss.
Absolutely not. It does require you to possibly take some more risks, but that's not out of the question. And frankly, when you're 2-2 in a race, you might be more likely to take some risks anyway. So
the hobo doesn't really have anything. I believe LTigre actually skipped it, or at least the first time. I don't know if he was deciding to go back to it. Nicholacci seems to be doing the standard fake flipper from hobo, and then with the Moon Pearl in hand, can set up an easy water walk and get the waterfall items. Although getting into this portal is sometimes easier said than done.
Yeah, you can kind of run around a little bit. Although, I'll say this much, and I don't know about you, I find it easier to control swimming than I do to walk on ice.
I'm not, like, I think they might be similar mechanics, like, or they might even be, like, the same, outside of, like, the, pressing a button to move faster. Not entirely sure, though.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, for some odd reason, it feels like I have more control swimming than I do on ice, for whatever reason. Nicholacci on his way up, going to see that cape, and then we'll see if he earns his life lesson.
Ooh. Got hit and lost the water walking, so now he's got to take a slower path to Zora.
At least when he got hit, he landed in the shallow water. If he would have landed in the deep water, that could have been unfortunate for him.
So let's see what, if anything Zora has. Just a bomb upgrade. So right now Nicholacci is going to be fluting to the mountain, I'm assuming. There's so much value there. If you have the Moon Pearl, Mitts, and Hookshot, you can essentially clear out the entirety of East Death Mountain and Dark East Death Mountain. You will be grabbing the Old Man to begin with, which is easier said than done if you don't have a sword to guide you.
Yeah, we see him using the boomerang in order to help guide him along some walls here. There's really only like one pit that really trips people up, but as soon as you get past that, it shouldn't be terribly difficult.
Yeah, sometimes I find it like really easy, and then sometimes I just fall like 6 times and get ultra triggered or tilted.
Really? I mean, yeah, it really depends on your mindset. If you're in, for example, LTigre's position where you might already be a little bit upset at yourself because of some other things.
Nicholacci getting near death there, and actually takes it.
Troll cabbage.
Yeah, it seems like it's like a 90% chance that I get bodied by a cabbage immediately after exiting that cutscene. It's like impossible to not happen.
It knows. It just knows.
And yeah, like, he literally just got that fairy bottle.
No fairy for you.
It's fine. Nicholacci's would probably dispose of it later for a death warp.
Ooh, did you see that?
I did, actually.
Where's Phantom Ryu when we need him to call out Kane?
Yeah, it's, we haven't seen a Dark World map check, but chances are we're gonna be needing the mirror, even if Swamp Palace is a crystal, or a pendant.
Yep. More than that, LTigre in the first of Paradox Cave also pulls the Fire Rod.
That's especially good, since they'll be able to clear Hera as well.
I'm always a little bit nervous going up to Hera without a fire source anyway, so being able to have that definitely helps.
Yeah, and having the ability to clear Hera when you're here at this point with these players, they don't know where the mirror is. The mirror could be in Turtle Rock for all they know. And getting back to Hera when you don't have the mirror is possibly one of the biggest time sinks in this game.
Yeah, it's even a little bit further than just climbing normal up to T-Rock, just because you have to start at the bottom, go up the east side, and then cross back over. It's just obscene. But because the logic could require it, a lot of people end up doing it anyway.
LTigre here, deciding to do Hera before the Spiral Cave, which is good. It's good routing because you'll have to run back anyway, or you'd have to run back up the East Death Mountain anyway. But it's also incredibly easy to forget Spiral Cave after immediately getting into Hera. I did miss what was on the Ether tablet.
Just a little bit of love. Come and get your love.
I very highly doubt either of these guys are going to be coming and getting that love at any point.
Probably not, but, you know.
Nicholacci deciding to skip over Tower Hera right now, and just going immediately into Spiral Cave.
Well, and it looks like, oh no, LTigre, you don't have the big key. You better turn around. You're not going to get very far that way.
Some people just really hate Hera Basement, I guess.
I mean, I don't disagree with them. I really dislike Hera Basement too, but when something points you that direction, you go that direction.
So, interestingly enough, Nicholacci deciding to do Dark Death Mountain and gambling on maybe a mirror pickup in Dark Death Mountain rather than doing Hera.
That's an interesting decision. I can't remember if it was Nicholacci or LTigre that we actually figured out that the Cane of Samaria was on the ledge requiring that mirror, so I don't know.
So LTigre taking another death, unfortunately, in the tile room there. We got our second fairy in a bottle and a blue male in Dark Death Mountain.
How tilted do you think LTigre is right now?
I'm gonna say like I don't know.
1 out of 10.
You found Hookshot in left side Swamp Palace, but the second chest you checked on left side Swamp Palace. That amount of tilted.
That's pretty tilted. Nicholacci going to check to see what's over here on Turtle Rock. Do we have a map check yet for Death Mountain? Or for anything?
Do not believe so.
Oh, I think our tracker is filling it in, so there must have been something. By the way, shout out to the MVP of this tournament. Okay, the second MVP, because Fiesel always gets the MVP. But the second MVP, dude, tracking duties.
Yep. I always miss the map check. I'm always looking at the wrong screen. But Nicholacci finding the fighter sword in Hookshot Cave. However, Nicholacci did not find the mirror. Looks like Nicholacci's going to be going directly for Spike Cave, interestingly enough.
And he's got the items. He's got the Staff of Berna and the hammer, so...
He also has a fairy. And getting fairy revived gives you, like, a lot of iframes.
This could really put him on top for a long time here. Spike Cave is one of those places that is so out of the way that if you do check it and there happens to be something here, it could really make the difference for a long, long, long time.
Yeah, Nicholacci deciding to not rely on the fairy. I know the fairy revive is slow, but oh my goodness.
Oh, wow!
That is absolutely massive.
We thought Nicholacci was just a little bit ahead before. It is absolutely the case. He is just so far ahead right now. What a play there by Nicholacci.
Yeah, that mirror allows him to now just go right up, grab the red cane, and go directly into Hera, as well as checking the ether tablet, which he'll know that he'll never have to return here ever again.
And with Swamp Palace being a crystal, we absolutely know that mirror was required, so... wow.
Chat putting out, it's still out of sequence. The lamp has to be somewhere. With what we have seen and what we haven't, I'm going to assume the lamp is inside of Eastern or at Sahasrara's hut.
Yeah, at this point in time, that seems to be the most logical location. But, you know... Oh, LTigre getting trolled.
Yeah, the lamp, especially if you have the fire rod, the lamp is one of the easiest items to leave sequence broken. So Nicholacci might not even bother going into Eastern, even if he knows that it has to be there. Or in Desert, or wherever the heck else they haven't checked.
Oh, you make a very good point in that, you know, with the lamp easily being able to be left out, these runners have easily navigated dark rooms before, as we've seen Nicholacci even do to get the Moon Pearl. So it's entirely possible he'll just stay out, but LTigre pulls it from
there it is. So we're no longer sequence broken, guys. You can rest easy that you're... yeah, you can rest easy that your sequence has been restored or is about to be restored.
That's interesting. So in order to get the mirror, the logic is requiring you to have the hookshot and the hammer, climb up Death Mountain, beat Trolldorm to get the lamp, go back down to escape to get the Moon Pearl, and then climb up again to get the mirror.
Yep.
Man.
That's where sequence breaks are very helpful. Sometimes they send you on a wild goose chase, but oftentimes with things like the lamp, especially, again, if you have the fire rod available, it's kind of a no-brainer. So after Hera, LTigre decides to go, looking like LTigre is deciding to go to Eastern.
Yep, looks like it. It's definitely a solid play at this point in time.
Yep, LTigre still has to get the Moon Pearl sometime soon, and the options are going to start to dwindle really quickly.
And it's so easy to forget that one chest that's in that dark room and escape. It may be a while before he goes back and checks that. So this could be interesting for LTigre. Definitely good for Nicholacci because he's went and checked those individual items.
Yep. by sequence, this is it's kind of a trolley seed.
Just a wee bit. But, you know, that makes it entertaining for us and for the chat room. Isn't that right, chat?
And after Hera, I'm going to assume Nicholacci is going to do nothing other than go directly to either the Village of Outcasts or Hyde Cave. He's getting a little trolled on here, but thankfully doesn't get pushed into that middle hole, which will send you down 2 floors.
Yeah, he ended up being kind of pushed up against the ledges on both the middle side, but also on that right side. So he pulled his sword out, trying to keep himself balanced there on the ledge. Good job by Nicholacci reacting that quickly.
Yeah, typically if you hold your sword out towards Moldorm and you're not getting hit from the side, your sword will always poke Moldorm, and you won't, as long as you're holding the direction towards the platform that you want to stay on, you won't get pushed off.
Nicholacci checking Meyer's shed, interestingly enough.
Yeah, never a bad spot, especially if you want to get the information on what medallions actually need, but Misery Mire is a pendant. And getting the bow, of all things.
That's going to be pretty big because we see both Eastern and Pod are crystals. So he'll be able to sequence those together now because he has everything needed to clear those out. That's really impressive there. What a find.
That's something you don't see all that often in V26 anymore. It used to be a staple in the previous tournament where you could usually hold on to ever entering Eastern until you had the ability to clear out Palace of Darkness and the Mirror. And in this case, Nicholacci will be able to do just that.
I really like what Nicholacci is doing. He knows that he's made some gambles and he has some items that LTigre, even though he doesn't know that LTigre had those problems, he probably has a pretty good bet that LTigre didn't make the same decisions in terms of sequence breaking to get the Moon Pearl, getting the lamp, being able to get all the items that he has. So pressing that advantage and seeing what is behind all of that to see what else he can get, I really like, and it's really playing into the version 26 logic here.
Right. And also, like, plays like this aren't necessarily risky. Honestly, I think Nicholacci's trying to rein it in a bit. After, as you said, having made so many gambles, now he can kind of relax. It looks like Nicholacci's going to be going into Desert, probably to check and see whether or not it's boot blocked.
Yeah, and if it's not, he has the ability to go ahead and clear it out because he has both the bow, fire rod for a fire source to clear it out. So nothing's stopping him.
He also apparently forgot to check the medallion requirement for Misery Mire the first time and got that check right out the way. So seeing Ether required for Misery Mire, but Bombos required for Turtle Rock is kind of interesting. If we see Ether sometime, we'll probably see a Mire check, especially with the green pendant. But Ether could easily be in Ganon's Tower at this point.
Absolutely. We're finding, Nicholacci, rather, is finding plenty of items to keep him going and keep him occupied. I don't think he's going to run out of plays that he could possibly make for a while here.
So LTigre is on the mountain here again. Oh, never mind. I was kind of hoping he was going to do Spike Cave, but going directly towards Desert, it looks like now.
Yeah, he has the book. He might be following the logic there. The issue is that we know where the Moon Pearl is, and that's what he's looking for right now to be able to do anything in Dark World. We know it's going to be in that dark room in Escape, so we're just hoping to guide him that way.
Yeah, it's weird to me to have one runner still missing the Moon Pearl after Nicholacci's had it for so long. I completely forgot he didn't have it. Usually, Dark or Light World is like, if Moon Pearl isn't in like Kakariko or one of the really easy early checks, it's something that the runners often find within a few minutes of each other. The problem is with that one chest in the Dark Sewers, it's just such an easy item to skip, and LTigre knows he's behind at this point, so he probably doesn't want to go out of his way. Like, going into Desert at this point, I feel, is going more out of your way than going to that one room in Escape. And that might be his play.
We also keep in mind those plays have just compounded for Nicholacci, because in addition to the Moon Pearl, he was able to get the mirror, he got his first sword, he got his bow. This is just, the longer it takes LTigre to start on that path, the greater lead Nicholacci is going to have. It's at this point, it's interesting to say, I don't think Nicholacci has made a wrong play at this point in time, and it's all worked out for him.
Yeah, I still don't necessarily agree with waiting on or trying to find the mirror in Dark Death Mountain. Maybe Nicholacci just forgot he could get to Hera, or he was just hoping he could route in Hera later on, like right before Ganon's Tower. But I probably would have taken the extra time to walk to Hera, do Hera, and then walk back and do Spiral Cave and Dark Death Mountain. But yeah, it really did pay off for him.
Absolutely. So hats off to him, certainly. Meanwhile, we see LTigre going to follow up and get his Landmolus kill in.
Yeah, and Nicholacci is going to be doing the Palace of Darkness / Eastern Palace combo. I don't think he's been to this part of the map in either world.
Nope, he'll probably make a pit stop right over here at Sahasrah's hut just to see what's in those 3 chests.
At least both of these runners have access to the Fire Rod when doing this quote-unquote early desert. I mean, by vanilla rules, this isn't early at all, but oftentimes in the randomizer, desert is blocked off for one reason or another.
Yeah, and I mean, that's fine, particularly since the book is one of those specialized items that for whatever reason you don't prioritize, and it's not like, oh, I have the book, I can go do it, like you do with Hookshot or Hammer or things like that. So it's only 2 items in Desert, but always worth going in there.
So, in terms of go mode items, what do we still need? We need the Ice Rod, we need the Flippers, and Bombos. And that's it.
Yep, that's it. That is it for Nicholacci. And there's so many dungeons ahead of him. I think he's feeling fairly confident at this point in time.
Yeah, LTigre having a bit of trouble with Landmolas. Looks like he used all of his magic and possibly missed a few of the shots. But with the hammer doing tempered sword damage, they really aren't that difficult. It's 4 hits, but the real problem is just dealing with that weird hammer hitbox. Nicholacci not getting a key in that ledge chest there, which is always irks me a little bit.
A little bit unusual, you know. I know there are certain other commentators who shall remain nameless, Cuff, Dr. Bob Cuff, who refer to this dungeon as the mullet dungeon. Party or business in the front, party in the back, with all the keys that are in the front, and then it's just back loaded with all the items you need.
Yep, and it's really just a ritual to get through the front segment here. Nobody really wants to do it. It's just something you have to do, and not getting a key in that one chest kind of just adds an additional step and makes it even longer.
Yep, absolutely. Seven Sins is calling Ice Rod on pedestal, either in Mimic Cave. You're an evil individual.
I mean, that would probably give LTigre a chance to get back in this.
Oh, absolutely. It's only a matter of time, and we see LTigre looks like he's starting to go up to that escape route. Finally, LTigre.
Yeah, let's hope he goes to to that dark sewer room and not to Aga. Look, okay, good.
Well, I don't think he can actually do Aga right now because he doesn't have a sword and he doesn't have the cape.
Right, the first sword was in Hookshot Cave. And yeah, we also do need a master sword to complete the game, so it's 4 items for go mode.
I'm going to say, but so many items are in Ganon's Tower, you can almost bank on there being some sort of sword upgrade in Ganon's Tower if you're still running around with Fighter Sword.
Yeah, as a runner, I don't think you can ever not assume that Ganon's Tower won't have a sword upgrade if you're getting there with Fighter Sword. And LTigre finally has Dark World access 41 minutes into the run, which probably doesn't feel all that good, but, you know, every little bit helps. Unfortunately, that's going to be pushing the Spike Cave further and further from their mind. Obviously, they couldn't have checked Spike Cave, even if they wanted to, but having all of the Dark World essentially open to them at this point, it's like going back to check that one spot is going to seem like such a bad idea.
Nicholacci getting Eggplant Hat here in the red mail.
So far, not a whole lot in Palace of Darkness, unfortunately. The red mail is a nice to have, but the biggest jump is from blue to green, and I doubt any of these runners really, really need red mail to beat the game.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've seen runners do it with green mail. So LTigre diverging a little bit, doing a run here into Skullwoods, which I don't know if we've seen Nicholacci actually do yet. I mean, we may have and just missed it, but...
Yeah, LTigre is falling for the version 26 meme of checking Skullwoods early, but gets rewarded for it. So
hey, I'll take that reward.
Yeah, it's a good reward actually. It's gonna allow him to make up some of the time against Nicholacci.
Yep, if you needed one item to help make up some difference, the boots will definitely help there. It'll be a little bit of time before Nicholacci heads that way, particularly since Skullwoods appears to be a pendant. So he may not go there. He has so many crystal dungeons that he can check yet.
Yeah, especially because they're not required unless that like 4-point-whatever% chance thing happens. Which could actually be really interesting if Nicholacci decides to go mode and Big Key is on Torch. So if anybody in the chat wants this to be a close race, you better be hoping for that Ganon's Tower lamp to have something good on it.
I'm excited for it. I'm ready for it. Meanwhile, we see Nicholacci getting ready to take on Helmasaur. Shouldn't be too big of a problem here. Still only has Fighter Sword, which is going to be a little bit difficult for him.
Yeah, you got to get the tip of your sword in the Helmasaur's right eye, his right, not your right, and then the hammer will typically hit. He also has the bow, and 8 shots in the Royal Jewel with the bow will also kill it. But not having too much trouble bringing down Helmasaur with just the hammer.
Nope, not at all. LTigre getting grabbed by a Wallmaster to get out of there quick. I think that was an intentional play on his part.
Yeah, a little scary that he only has 1 heart. I wonder if he's gonna do. He does have a red potion, but he also might just take a death here.
It seems like it'd be a pretty decent play to just go ahead and take a death.
Yeah, especially with no mirror and doing this chest first. Can just drop a bomb or run back into this room. Does get bunnied.
And gets a shield. I'm sure he's disappointed because that's the second item. So he's done with Skull Woods.
Yeah, and not having the mirror, he couldn't even do the easy pedestal check. Nicholacci's going through Eastern Palace now as part of that Palace of Darkness Eastern Palace combo. I don't believe LTigre found anything good in Eastern Palace, but I also don't know if Armos had an item.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the difference because I don't think they got all 3 items, so Armos has something. Nicholacci with both the lamp and the bow will be able to dive in there and go to town.
So LTigre looks like they were going towards the north loop of the Dark World, but instead decides to clear out Village of Outcasts.
At this point, if you're LTigre, you're probably just hoping to find some sort of sword.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that we've only seen 1 sword between both of our runners.
And that sword, that sword at the time was sequence broken because he didn't have the lamp, but he had the Moon Pearl and was doing it in the Dark World Hookshot Cave, correct?
Right. So LTigre, I wasn't sure if LTigre was gonna shun Thieves Town or not, but I think they just decided to take a scenic route around Kakariko.
The scenic route. I like that. It's the route I take.
So yep, we got Thieves Town Dive, which is going to be a lot faster now that he has those boots.
The difficult thing about dashing around when you don't have a sword is that you can just bounce right off things. Normally dashing, you hit an enemy, it'll knock it out of the way, but dashing without a sword is just increasingly riskier.
Right. What's something weird I learned is that Stalfos will not jump out of the way if you dash at them without a sword, which is it's kind of weird to me.
Oh, that's
I figured
cool.
it was the act of dashing that made them jump, not the act of having a sword. So they don't even make it easier on you.
LTigre ended up picking up the flippers in Thieves Town, so there's one of our required items that Nicholacci does not have. But chat pointing out that those flippers are going to guide him further away from those key items up on Death Mountain.
Yeah. The flippers, at least, will not take LTigre into Swamp Palace yet, because he does need that mirror. So at least he'll only be wasting time in Pendant Ice Palace.
Pendant Ice Palace without a sword. No, thank you.
It's fine. He has a hammer. If I were a betting man, which I probably shouldn't be because I've been wrong, like with all of Nicholacci's moves so far, except for I think Palace of Darkness. I think Nicholacci's going to Thieves Town next anyway, so he'll probably be grabbing that those flippers. Really, outside of the items that we're missing, and one of them is the flippers. This has been a pretty straightforward Dark World clear for Nicholacci.
Yeah, it's been almost a jet seat for Nicholacci just with the gambles that he's taken, and they've paid off immensely.
LTigre finding the silvers there in the buzz room. Buzz is what those little green caterpillars, or not caterpillars, crickets are called.
Yeah, I looked that up the other day too, and I remember thinking, Buzz, that's like the worst nickname ever for something like that.
Yeah, I want to call him Buzz Lightyear, but they don't look like him at all.
We have a different plan. Nicholacci going up to Skull Woods, also following the meme.
Yeah, so Nicholacci's going to be getting those nice booties.
Just the wrong footwear for himself is what he's getting.
Yeah, I mean it's 2 items. It's not that hard of a check. I can see why people do it. I mean, I do it usually mainly because I don't want to miss out on an item, and I know like other racers are always going to be doing it.
Also, he'll be able to check, for example, the pedestal. So we may get our pedestal check here from Nicholacci. About the only thing at this point that could be up there is that's required. I mean, I guess Bombos could be there, Ice Rod could be there, so a couple of the Turtle Rock required items, but there's still so much of the world to check.
Yeah, definitely haven't seen Bombos. I'm wondering, that could be buried deep in mire for all we know. Heck, it could be on the pedestal. And actually, Nicholacci's going to be able to check that pedestal.
Yep.
Interestingly enough, Nicholacci looked like he had a good bomb jump setup, but decided to do the easier setup anyway. LTigre opting to use the hammer on blind, which Chad is kind of calling him out for not using the blue cane because blue cane kind of wrecks him. And actually taking a death.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, if I were... I mean, I can certainly see doing phase 1 and even phase 2 with the hammer, given his magic levels. But yeah, phase 3, use that cane.
And again, LTigre knows he's behind, so that has got to not feel good at all.
LTigre starting to do the higher risk strategy. He's going to be checking up here on the ledge. We know where the cape is, and he has the flippers, so he may think this could lead him, but nope, just a piece of heart.
Yep, Nicholacci's also checking the pedestal, so get your pedestal hype emotes out. It's
couch cash.
Just couch cash, so pedestal hype, and then stab Z if you have the Franker Face Z extension. Interestingly enough, Nicholacci is deciding to try and find the second item in Swamp, which won't be that terrible. It's going to be, I believe, his first shield.
Yeah, it won't be bad. I mean, he'll be able to bounce out of here real quick, know that this isn't going to be a required boss, and leave happy.
Yep. So, knowing that the pedestal dream is dead, stabbed with a dagger, Nicholacci is going to just probably go towards Village Outcasts and clear Thieves Town.
Yep, he's got 3 crystal dungeons left. Thieves Town is the only one he knows he can clear. Swamp Palace will require the flippers that he does not have, and Turtle Rock requires bombos that he won't even be able to open yet. He might be able to find Ice Rod in Turtle Rock, which would be a little bit trolly at this point, but not unexpected.
Interestingly enough, Nicholacci's opting to do some of this, at least some of this north loop, and not really finding anything here at Bumper Cave. If Nicholacci opted to go into Thieves Town right now, that's going to open up basically the second to last crystal dungeon for him. And Swamp Palace, I don't care what people say, there is value in Swamp Palace. I value
absolutely.
Swamp Palace. Maybe not if, you know, flippers are this late, but 6 items are still nothing to be sneezed at.
Yep. Meanwhile, LTigre getting at 55 minutes, our first hype cave check. What's that about? 55 minutes to hype cave?
That is interesting, and we've got both green rupees. That's hype, right?
Okay, that is officially the cave of disappointment now.
We got 2 quick ones. And some other money and hearts. Nicholacci not really getting much value out of the graveyard ledge. They're actually in the same spot on the map, interestingly enough.
Yep, kind of a mini high five here. And there's Ether. Okay. So LTigre doesn't know it, but he can go into Meyer now if he wants to.
Yep, nice high five. And LTigre also has the blacksmith, and that's Meyer access, by the way.
Is he gonna go? I mean, he'll have Meyer access. He also has Thieves Town. We'll see which he decides to go. He's gonna go Meyer. Wow.
Yeah, that's okay. No.
Okay, yeah.
I think Nicholacci has to think he's ahead at this point. Like, with the plays he's made. Ooh, and LTigre getting called a Cree. Shoutouts to Rando developers.
Absolutely. And LTigre finally bringing Jeremiah back home.
Yep, Jeremiah,
hoping to find a sword.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
And he only gave me bombs, so he only was a good friend of mine.
Yeah. I mean, 3 bombs for 10 rupees. Not a terrible price, honestly.
Thank you for saving me. Here are things to blow up and be terrorist with.
So Nicholacci's clearing out this big screen of Village of Outcasts, but looks like he's going directly into Thieves Town, which is a good idea.
Yeah, we know it's a good idea. It'll lead him to Flippers and eventually to being able to do both Ice Palace and, more importantly, Swamp Palace.
Yep. Both of these runners could have gotten to Ice Palace a long time ago, or at least since they had access to the Dark World. I don't see a lot of value in skipping over the Flippers, but a lot of runners, some runners who shall remain nameless, seem to like that idea. Yeah, you can't hammer dash actually without a sword, which is something I forget and relearn once every like 20 seeds.
I know, right? It just takes you a little bit of time to remember that you can't do that.
So neither the dwarves nor the purple chest really paying off, unfortunately. Those are spaces that I feel like Nicholacci might put off, especially with dungeons opening up to him. So that could have given LTigre a bit of an advantage.
Could have, but unfortunately not. Nicholacci opting to go for the dungeons, always a smart play in version 26. LTigre, we're just waiting for him to go up to that Dark Death Mountain where we know where the value is.
Yep. All right, let's do a quick countdown. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and happy 1 hours of no sword on LTigre's side.
That's rough. I don't care who you are. I mean, I just have all sorts of sympathy. Not that Fighter Sword in the Dark World is any easier, but having to go through all the dungeons. He's gotten 2 crystals without a sword. I hate playing swordless.
Yeah, that's one of the potential setbacks of open mode. Nicholacci getting trolled by these buzzes a little bit. Also picking up his silver arrows.
So Nicholacci with silver arrows, I mean, most of the bosses that would really help him out with a lot, he's already defeated, except for Ganon. So.
Yep, Nicholacci missing, 2 items for go mode outside of sword? And I believe, at this point, you got to assume that something is in Ganon's tower that's sword related.
Oh, absolutely. We've checked too many locations at an hour between these 2 runners to not think there's at least 1, if not 2, maybe more swords. I mean, all 3 of them could be in Ganon's tower at this point.
LTigre taking the risk, which is unfortunately not going to pay off, but he might feel he has to, of entering Palace of Darkness without a bow. And we know the bow is in the Mire area.
Yeah, he may not find the bow here, but the only thing... I don't know. Only the first 3 chests can possibly have the bow or anything that would block behind the bow. But there's still some other items that could possibly be here, so he may full clear it as much as he can.
Nicholacci getting a little low on health, though he does have the red mail, but the red fireballs does always do 1 heart, so he was playing a little fast and loose, but blind goes down. And I'm gonna assume we're gonna be seeing a Swamp Palace check. He can't be that insane to go to Pendant Ice over Crystal Swamp, can he?
He's made crazier moves this run, so never assume anything at this point.
Looks like he's going to be clearing out the South Dark World loop. And probably, now that I think about it, finishing up with the purple chest, and then immediately going into Swamp.
That's fair. That's a pretty solid decision at that point in time.
So LTigre, did LTigre not check Zora at this point? Because he was actually picking up some money.
I don't think he did. He started heading that direction, but remember, I believe that was one of his deaths where he died on his way over there.
Yeah, he got bodied by Azora, unfortunately. He is getting his blue mail, so hopefully that won't happen again at the very least.
Well, we hope not. Blue mail is just a lifesaver. I always breathe a little bit easier once I have blue mail.
Yeah, and Nicholacci actually able to do the hammer dash here because he does have a sword, even though it's made out of plastic.
A plastic sword that has gotten him 5 crystals so far.
Yeah, I mean it's useful, but can't kill Ganon with it. That's probably its one major drawback. So what's good for LTigre here is the fact that Nicholacci is doing this overworld cleanup that didn't really pan out for him.
Yep, just more time made up there for LTigre while Nicholacci clears these up. It's not going to take him very long, though, unfortunately. So,
and with nobody having found the powder or even the mushroom at this point, there is one spot that could troll these runners pretty heavily in that magic bat cave.
I was going to say, we have powder, mushroom, and shovel. Most of the fetch quests we haven't even sniffed so far.
Yep, there's also the green pendant, which runners should never forget about. And, yeah.
Green pendant's in Mire, too. That'll take some time to get there. Evaniel Emixert, I'm butchering your name in chat. Yes, Zora was already checked by Nicholacci. LTigre has not checked it, though. So he could be routing up that direction right now.
Nicholacci is also not checked Hype Cave at this point. So that's going to be even more time, quote-unquote, wasted before he enters Swamp.
Yeah, but good routing by Nicholacci, able to route all of these in together at the same time. You don't really see that too frequently, being able to do all of these together. Certainly helps him in keeping his time lower.
I think it's a testament to how this seed worked, at least in terms of the sequence breakiness of it, that Nicholacci was able to do so much without ever setting foot in this cave. He's getting his 2 quick ones. Some body armor. I mean, a heart.
We'll go with it.
It'd actually be funny if it was body armor, like the male upgrade after the 2 single rupees.
LTigre, I think, is finally making the play up to Dark Death Mountain, which finally, LTigre, you're going to be so happy to find your sword.
Yeah, at this point, though, that's gonna not be feeling all that great, especially considering if he had decided to do the sequence break like Nicholacci, he could have had the sword quite a long time ago.
It's the value of sequence breaking. This run alone teaches us some very valuable lessons, and it was just one sequence break. A dark room in order to get the Moon Pearl, and it unlocked so much for Nicholacci.
Yeah, and I think there's a Ruby Horde. I think there's value in doing it even if you don't get anything out of it, because that spot is going to be out of your mind, and you're never going to think about it again. LTigre also opting not to get that full magic decanter, unfortunately, which was one of my pet peeves.
Yeah, we'll see if he ends up deciding. I mean, he's checking Turtle Rock right now. He's also up here for Spike Cave, which has the mirror, which was a really out-of-the-way location for the mirror to be in, and has really paid off for Nicholacci. We'll see if he dives into the Spike Cave or just gets the normal kind of Dark Death Mountain routing without it.
It's probably really easy to forget about Spike Cave at this point. And that's our 1 hour, 8 minutes fighter sword. While Nicholacci makes his way into Swamp Palace.
Remember how we were speculating at the beginning of the run if that really was the first sword that we could get, or if the sequence break just intended that to be the first sword? Oh, that really was the first sword we were intended to get.
First sword. I believe we've checked pretty much everything else at this point. Oh, there's Bombos, so Turtle Rock is now open. Without Ice Rod, though, it's kind of it would be a pretty big gamble to enter it just yet.
And LTigre did go ahead and skip Spike Cave, so no mirror for you.
Yeah, that kind of sucks, but he's gonna be getting his bow here in a second, and also can enter and complete Mire.
That might be an interesting play. He knows he's behind, so he's got to make some sort of gamble, and he's going to go for it.
Yeah, so if something like Ice Rod is in here, that could help him out a bit, though. I feel like Nicholacci might choose to do Misery Mire over Ice Palace at this point, because especially with the green pendant in play.
If I had to choose between those two, yeah, I think I would do Misery Mire over Ice Palace, only because of the green pendant. Keep in mind, I hate Misery Mire, and if it wasn't for that green pendant, between the two, I'd go Ice, but yeah.
Oh, that's right. He never picked up his cane, because he couldn't get it.
Oh no, and he knows where it's at.
The cane is still sitting on Spectacle Rock, so this is actually... This is going to be pretty disastrous unless he does get something of value in here. And Nicholacci realizing that can't hit that switch with Fighter Sword.
Nicholacci getting bodied here a little bit.
So yeah, LTigre might actually think the mirror is in here, not having seen it at this point. Which, by his perspective, would be a pretty good gamble if it were in here.
It would be. If he finds Hammer here, he probably is feeling fairly good about himself. But he won't, which will be bad for him.
Yeah, everything is still coming up Nicholacci, unfortunately. Wait a second. Did Nicholacci just... He didn't flood the key, did he? He didn't go to the left side, did he?
Yeah, he definitely didn't go left side. I think he got it prepared to go and then said, well, I'm going to take a risk here.
That's some interesting routing, I must say. Oh, he set up left side. Actually, you know, that's a good idea because you can do the slightly faster way of getting that key and not flooding it. And also, Nicholacci finding the Master Sword.
We will not have a menu fight, unfortunately. Fighter Sword Argus, you.
Yeah, I mean, Fighter Sword Argus, you can do with spins, which is nice. The worst is if you have no sword. So yeah, Nicholacci doesn't even need to worry about swords being in Ganon or Ganon's tower. And yep, that is one item away from Go mode. So depending on where Ice Rod is, this race could go different ways. Unfortunately, it looks like Ice Rod is not in Misery Mire proper.
And I wasn't counting items, but I look like 2 items, so I don't think it's going to be anywhere in Mire.
LTigre, no! You're right there!
No!
He started at the mountain cave just because it's the quickest way. Uh-oh. Yeah.
And Nicholacci finds Ice Rod on Argus. He is officially in Go mode. Oh
yep,
boy.
That is a bona fide Go mode on Nicholacci's side. So Swamp Palace was the play to make. Take that, haters.
I know, it blows my mind every time I see someone who hates on Swamp Palace.
It's kind of like, outside of the fact that Nicholacci doesn't have Butter Sword yet and Mirror Shield, this is kind of like a V18 seed, because it just sort of led them around from dungeon to dungeon with like the most obvious progression after they got Dark World access.
Well, and really, other than that, you know, multiple trips up Death Mountain that was required because of the lamp and Moon Pearl kind of fiasco that Nicholacci did end up sequence breaking. Yeah, it's been a fairly straightforward seed. If you just follow the items that you were given, you turned out okay.
Yeah, and unfortunately, with that early death and the fact that he hasn't found the mirror yet, LTigre has been kind of, I don't want to say forced, but mentally, you're going to make different decisions if you think you're playing from behind. And those different decisions are typically going to be not as like positive expected value as you would normally make.
No, they're definitely high-risk strats when you're behind, because the high risk ends up carrying the high reward with it, associated with it. He's just trying to make up as much time as he can, particularly from the early death and the game freezing up on him, that he had to do a hard reset. That put him behind from the beginning, but to be perfectly honest, I can't say that Nicholacci would be behind, because he's just run an amazing race.
Right. Ooh, LTigre blocking himself out of there. Didn't realize that the pegs are already down. So Nicholacci's going to have a go mode Turtle Rock. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be particularly fast. Depending on the key layout, he could still... And depending on whether or not he decides to make any gambles surrounding the keys in this dungeon, he could end up getting to the laser bridge and having to backtrack all the way back to the Mimic Cave entrance.
We'll see. In go mode, Turtle Rock isn't that much longer in go mode than it is any other way. You're just checking a few more chests. So he's got to be definitely feeling pretty good about his situation right now. Probably won't be taking a ton of risks, just knowing where he's at. At an hour 16 in go mode in Turtle Rock, I'd be feeling pretty good about myself right now.
Hour 16 go mode in Crystal 7. I don't think, unless I was playing against someone like Christos or Andy or ACM, I don't think anybody would be ahead at that point.
No, but particularly with the gambles that he made. Now, if the items that he happened to find were kind of along the route and he didn't have to take that huge sequence break from Moon Pearl in the Dark Room, if not for that, he would probably feel that LTigre was right on his tail, if anything.
Yeah, so Nicholacci opting to try and kill these pokies with the Master Sword, which is actually kind of slow. They take like extra bonus damage from the Gold Sword tier damage. And I think it's like 8 hits or something with normal Temperate Sword. Maybe a bit less.
Yeah, it's kind of a rough one. I just use Fire Rod, call it good. But Nicholacci doesn't have half magic. LTigre doesn't either. One of those nice items that you don't realize how useful it is until you don't have it anymore.
Mm-hmm. They're not actually called Pokies. They're called Hoku Boku. So the more you know. I still like to call them Pokies.
Someone give us a rainbow here.
So yeah, Nicholacci really stubborn about this Master Sword usage, but thankfully the Pokey just went all the way to the exit of the room, so it's
just
not like he wasted that much time.
Did I see him pick up the big key as well?
I haven't really been paying attention on that one. Did he have it in his inventory?
Yes, he did. And now he uses Fire Rod.
Yeah, getting pretty low on magic.
Loch Ness Gaming, to to break it down for you, LTigre had some issues early on. His game locked up, so he had to do a hard restart. However, the big story is that Nicholacci did a sequence break, got Moon Pearl very early. It was in the dark room of Escape. That allowed him to do Dark Death Mountain, which had all sorts of goodies. LTigre still really hasn't caught up from that. That one sequence break is the story of this match right now.
Yeah, and LTigre has been playing from behind and hasn't really never caught up and is still waiting for that mirror that's pretty much never going to come unless he ever goes to the Spike Cave.
Yeah, Mirror and Spike Cave was also just a brutal place for the mirror as well.
Yeah, we weren't very, at least I wasn't very pleased with Nicholacci's routing, but it really paid off for him. But I mean, even if Nicholacci did Palace or Tower of Hera before doing Dark Death Mountain, that would have still only put him like a minute or two behind where he is right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's had, other than a couple of questionable plays that happened to pay off, he definitely took gambles. He's played very well, has not been tilted, hasn't had any unnecessary deaths. He's just playing like a pro right now, and that's what you got to do at this level to move on.
Mm-hmm. So, magic is actually a bit of a concern on Trinex if you have Master Sword. You pretty much are required to switch to Hammer, which can be a bit of a pain, especially when you realize that you can't access... like, Nintendo really wanted you to watch these explosions, so you can't access your item menu while they're happening. And this is the Michael Bay of A Link to the Past bosses.
Oh, I like that reference. I like it. Because it's completely unnecessary and gratuitous explosions.
Yeah, like I didn't come up with that reference. Nicholacci lucking out a bit with that last fire rod hit, killing the ice head.
Master Sword Trinex, not going to be fun. LTigre trying to do the bomb jump here, I think.
Ooh, it looked like Trinex had his number there for a minute, only having 2 hearts remaining at the end.
And with that, Nicholacci defeats Trinex, and he is officially on his way to Ganon's Tower. So, ladies and gentlemen in chat, there's a little game we like to play whenever someone's on their way to Ganon's Tower. What chest is the big key in? We have 1 through 22. Get your guesses in. Ruble, what are you going to guess?
I'm going to go with my perennial guess and say it's 8. What about you?
Nicholacci has had way too much luck, so I'm going to guess Tile Room, because I think he deserves a Tile Room.
Wow, that's pretty mean. But yeah, I think Tile Room would be pretty nice for this seed. Oh, and LTigre getting another time waste, unfortunately, in Ice Palace, finding the shovel.
Oh, we didn't get any of the fetch quest items. No powder, no mushroom, no shovel from Nicholacci.
So the route right now is pretty much locked in. Nicholacci could not go to the right. So he's pretty much just gonna, unless, like, I don't know, he decides he's playing from behind and really needs to see what's on the right side, is probably going to clear out all the left side and then go to the right if necessary. So my guess of 8 will be on the double firebar room.
It's a good one. We've seen it a few times in this tournament. Up 1 through 22, we're going to see something everywhere in this tournament.
Yep. In previous versions of the randomizer, there was actually a bit of a wait, and I assume it was unintentional, to placing the big key in certain locations. But now I believe it's equally likely to be in any spot in Ganon's Tower. Or basement, that is.
Yep. Yep.
So, not 8, so rip me. Oh my goodness, this is the Palace of Fetch Quests.
Ice Palace? Palace of Fetch Quests. Wow.
So, at this point, LTigre might not even be done with this Ice Palace venture before Nicholacci finishes the game. Like, what are we going to see next? Powder at the or Vanilla Powder?
We could see Vanilla Powder. That would be something. And yeah, we could see a dot done here from Nicholacci pretty quick, and LTigre just go, what? I mean, it'll be interesting to see his reaction at that point in time.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate for him. So we're going into the rando room here. We're getting to just 10, 11, 12, and 13. So rando room is not paying off. Interestingly enough, Nicholacci deciding to go directly to the right side instead of going through that long teleporter maze.
Oh, that'll be rough if... Oh wait, he can get Bob's chest from the other direction.
Yeah.
Well. Okay.
That's actually I like that routing. I might steal it. I hate that teleporter maze. It's so slow.
No, it makes sense, especially, I mean, you can get through to the invisible bridge room a little bit faster, but you save the time not doing the teleporter maze. And LTigre hammering Cold Stare and going to be rewarded with just a compass.
Mm-hmm. And whoever put in 14 thinking Bob's chest, rip you, unfortunately, if it's in Bob's chest still. So LTigre now is going to be stuck doing fetch quests for a few minutes, unfortunately, and that is what, number 15?
Number 15. Interestingly enough, Nicholacci still only has the Master Sword, so it's going to be kind of a long Ganon fight, but I think he has time to spare.
So what does the lucky winner win?
Well, Herfy Durfy will be around later tonight, so he'll be able to give you, if you stick around, his love and affection.
Oh, Fiesel actually has a command now for Big Key.
I know, I love it.
That's cool. Let's see. So we're going upstairs now. It's pretty much just a death march till the end of Ganon's Tower now. But with silvers, 25 arrows, a full 14.5 hearts, and red mail, I don't think Nicholacci's going to be having that much trouble.
Likely not. Making quick work of that spike run. Wow.
Yeah, so shovel leading to nothing but some rupees, unfortunately. Somebody must have been really intent on hiding their life savings, despite the fact that you can find rupees literally under a bush somewhere.
I know you can find 20 rupees by cutting down just a bush, but I'm gonna hide my 50 here.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like maybe an hour's worth of work to get that much. And then another like half an hour to dig that hole. Gauntlet not really providing much challenge with Nicholacci. Even with the Master Sword only. Even used the spikes in that last room.
So one of the nice things about having red mail is you can kind of charge your way and not worry about a ton of damage other than the spikes.
Fortunately, Nicholacci not getting the one cycle on land mode 2. And getting trolled a bit. So it's going to get at least a 3 cycle.
Meanwhile, we see LTigre on his way. Don't know how. I mean, I know he probably feels like he's behind, but 4 dungeons and he's on to number 5 here in Eastern at an hour 30. He may not feel that far behind if he made some right plays, but we know a little bit better, unfortunately.
Yeah, and there's not even an item at Armost, so LTigre might actually be just trying to get the pedestal dream at this point, even though he can't, now that I think about it. Nicholacci has pretty much all the magic he needs to beat the game at this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, presuming Ganon, but I think he has a bottle of magic if he needs to.
Maybe. I was meaning just getting through that room, and then there's a full magic pot. Well, there's one on that Helmslore, but there's also in an upcoming room. No luck just yet on these upper floor Ganon's Tower chests. Getting tempered would be huge.
Shout out to Zorded with his cheer. 250 there. Thank you, Zorded.
Thank you. So unless we're gonna get the tempered sword in the last chest in the game, Nicholacci is gonna have to do Master Sword Ganon. Now that's a lot easier if you have silvers for the last phase, but it's still nothing to sniff at.
Yeah, I mean, it's still going to be kind of a rough one. And he validates the tempered sword. Okay. What a validation.
Yeah, that's gotta feel pretty good.
Absolutely. I mean, Master Sword Ganon is something we've all practiced, but we never actually want to do, I don't think.
Yeah, especially without any real potions, I believe, to back him up at this point. Getting that extra damage out of the tempered sword and not having to rely on only spins is very valuable.
Absolutely. So, Nicholacci, just everything going right for him, while LTigre, just about everything going wrong.
Yep. And it all really hinged on 2 locations.
Yep, those 2 locations being the Moon Pearl in that dark room, and then the mirror in the Spike Cave. So, my goodness.
LTigre is not going to be out by any stretch of the imagination at this point. He'll be 2-3, which if he wins his final match in the Swiss, he'll be able to enter the wild card race.
Yep, that should be an exciting match there. I know it's going to make a lot of runners nervous being in that playoff race, but it'll be hype for us being able to watch it.
So I see something here on LTigre's screen. And it's really sad that we're seeing this with what's happening on Nicholacci's screen. Although Nicholacci might actually take a death to Ganon.
That would be something. Oh, and he takes death.
I might have a fairy. Yep, okay.
LTigre checking Spike Cave.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not really going to help him at this point. He still has 3 dungeons to go through. And I believe Swamp Palace did have value for him. Although I forget if he would be in go mode.
In the meanwhile, while we see Nicholacci finishing up this Ganon fight, let's give a shout out to both of these runners, LTigre and Nicholacci. If you have not followed them yet, please give them a follow. They are these wonderful gladiators fighting for our entertainment here. Also, a shout out to Feasel, our restreamer, without which this tournament simply would not happen. Also, Dude, our wonderful tracker who's been putting forth so much work in these tournaments. Also, give Ruble, my wonderful co-commentator, a follow as well. Thank you, Ruble.
I thank you as well. And give Vidi Vitasia a follow. And yeah, so Nicholacci is finishing up this Ganon fight, and as he goes into the door, you can see now that he has finished in first place with an SRL time of 1:35.08, which is a very respectable time, especially for V26.
Very respectable time. And as soon as he saw that dot done, yes, LTigre did dot forfeit there. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I cannot blame him being as far behind as he was. GG, LTigre, and Nicholacci. Let's see if we can get one or both of them down in here. We have Nicholacci in the waiting room.
Hello. Good game.
Hey guys.
Oh, good game again. So about that seed, you must have seen just now that once you completed, your opponent forfeit. And,
I left my computer, so I didn't see that.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, this wasn't really his race. He had a few early deaths, and there were 2 locations in particular that he left for a long time that really brought his downfall.
Let's see if we can get LTigre in here while we explain exactly how this all went down.
Absolutely. It seemed like such a weird seed, but I kept going to the right places and getting what I needed. So, but I can see definitely a couple things that control you if you're, not wanting to do certain things. Specifically, the Moon Pearl is the one thing I think about in that dark room in Escape,
Right.
And the fact that lamp was from Moldorm or something like that.
Yeah, so the 2 locations, one of them was the Moon Pearl. LTigre, I believe, didn't actually get that until around like 40 minutes in, and the second one, which was like he literally just got, was the mirror.
Yeah.
So I believe he was playing kind of on tilts and making like the larger gambles, and really none of them paid out, as you've seen, because everything you did essentially led to the next thing you had to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess we'll get LTigre here in the chat. I'll pull him in. Hello, LTigre.
What's up?
Good game, despite
Good
everything.
game, buddy.
Yeah, that was... today was not my day. Let's just say that.
Well, and really the differentiating factor, I think, from the start was Nicholacci making an early play, sequence breaking into the dark room and escape for that Moon Pearl, whereas you ended up waiting out the logic where it sent you up to Death Mountain to get the lamp before you could get that. So if you followed the logic, which I believe you didn't have a whole lot of sequence breaks. It really ran you all over the map, but that one sequence break for Nicholacci just added so much. And then to combine it, I mean, he almost immediately jumped down and got the mirror in Spike Cave. So whereas you just now kind of got it.
Yeah, I imagine you must have got it pretty early. I mean, trying to think where Cane of Burna was, because that was probably, that was necessary because
I think that was in Thieves Town, maybe? No, some other dungeon. I can't remember.
So, Nicholacci, I have a bit of a bone to pick.
Okay, go ahead.
Why did you go into Dark Death Mountain without the mirror or completing Hera?
I forgot about it. As soon as I jumped down to Spiral Cave, I was like, oh, I should have done Hera first, but it was too late.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Because that's a pretty big gamble.
Yeah.
We were talking about how much of a pain it is to return to Hera if you leave the Death Mountain area and have to come back.
Yeah, especially without mirror.
Yeah, exactly. It was just one of those things where I do a stupid thing and it happens to work out for me, which tends to happen with fair frequency, I find.
Yeah, I mean, the seed kind of played out pretty standardly after that. Like, you went to Meyer quickly, which I think is a good idea, and got the bow, and you had the knowledge that you couldn't get into Meyer yet, which is also good. Because there's nothing good in Meyer.
And then I found Ether before I found my other Go Mode items, and I was freaking out that I would have to go into Meyer. And then I found Flippers before I found Ice Rod, which was a pain, because then it was going to be either gambling Turtle Rock, gambling Meyer, or gambling Ice Palace, and none of those choices seemed very good.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, LTigre, the seed outside of that first hiccup was pretty straightforward, because getting that bow, going through Pod, getting all the items in Pod, which I don't think there was anything good in Pod or Eastern, going through Thieves Town, getting those flippers, getting the mirror, obviously, and going through Swamp, I believe put Nicholacci in Go Mode.
Yeah.
I
That sounds like the correct route.
Bombos was in
myself,
like
'cause I was
the
thinking-
southern chest, and then Ice Rod was from Argus, so...
Okay. Yeah, I didn't even get that far.
Yeah,
I had a controller malfunction at the beginning that got me all flustered. The whole thing went poorly after that. But it sounds like you probably would have beat me anyway, just because of you did that sequence break immediately, which I pretty much never do. The one where you do the dark room.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I don't think it made too much of a difference anyway.
It wasn't a fun one because by that point I didn't have a sword, so I was using like the red boomerang to echolocate, which barely worked.
Yeah, and like I've never done that successfully. I barely can do it with a sword, and without a sword I was like, nah, I'm just gonna hope there's nothing there. But this time there was.
Yeah, to put it into perspective, Rubel, maybe you can help me out here. It felt like that every gamble that Nicholacci made worked out, and then every gamble that LTigre you made didn't. And it was really kind of heartbreaking because we've all been there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I gambles and didn't.
Yeah. I was thinking that maybe you were playing a bit more aggressive on the gambles since you thought you were behind.
I mean, I had such a rough start, I just the controller malfunction cost me probably about a minute, and then I died a few times in stupid places, and then I was just like, all right, if I'm gonna have any chance at this, I just gotta go for some crazy stuff and hope I get something. And so, I went for the crazy stuff, and literally none of it paid off. I get just bad gamble after bad gamble.
Yeah.
So, not my run, unfortunately.
Which is pretty uncommon in V26, honestly. Like, I have more trouble than straightforward ones like this. So Nicholacci, how were you feeling when you finally got to that Moldorm 2 chest and pulled the tempered sword?
I was happy enough to do just Master Sword Ganon, but it was nice, I guess. It kind of bugs me because I really hate that meme, but this time it paid out, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not a meme if you are still looking for a level 3 sword or silvers, in the climb before Ganon. I've definitely seen silvers in that chest more often than statistically I should.
Yeah, feels like that.
So, do either of you have any other thoughts about this seed, or you just kind of want to block this one from your memory, LTigre?
Yeah, this one's going to be repressed, and this is like the run of my nightmares.
Is the seed still on your computer, or have you deleted it yet?
I mean, I'm gonna delete it immediately after this for sure, and clear my recycle bin.
Well,
Yeah, otherwise, it was pretty fun. I had fun, and just didn't work out this time.
well, congratulations to Nicholacci moving on to 3 and 2. LTigre still in it at 2 and 3. Just a reminder, we have lots more rando action tonight. Just here in the next 10 minutes, over on Randomizer Mania 2, we have a secondary match between Three Ducks and Spiffers the Grand. We got some great commentary over there. So if you're not doing anything else tonight, just chill out with the kids or with your Hot Pockets or whatever you want to do and go watch some more rando. We also have an hour after that over on Speed Gaming, the original, Maximum Barnage versus Sidarial on Speed Gaming Original. We have Epiplitigus and Herfy Durfy on the call with Streamy Sauce tracking for us over there. Should be a fun match to watch there, too.
Yep, and Mr. Barry Bonds and Hodge, so I don't know how to pronounce that, at 11 p.m. Eastern. So, and that's also on Speed Gaming 1. So,
Yep. Lots of rando, but that'll be it. So you guys can get over and watch that Randomizer Mania 2 channel. We'll be wrapping up. To call it an evening, my name is Vitasia.
I am Rubel.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great rest of your night.
And goodbye.